Hello everyone, I am Kaukab Abid, and today my talk is on the topic of unlocking the potential of Gen Z. Here's the outline for today's talk. I'll start with a brief introduction, and that's important because you need to know where I'm coming from. Then I'm going to discuss some important traits of Gen Z. We already have discussed a lot today, but I'll give you a new perspective to it. Then I'm going to discuss how to teach Gen Z, which is, again, a challenging question. I'll share my experiences, and at the end, I'm going to share my point of view on how to unlock the potential of Gen Z. So let's go and introduce ourselves. I'm from Pakistan. I was born in Australia, but I spent all my life in Pakistan, and I came here to Malaysia in April, so I've been here for the last 4 months, and this is the longest that I've stayed away from my country. As far as my educational background is concerned, I completed my BBA and MBA from Institute of Business Management, which is one of the best business schools in Karachi. And this institute helped me become a better person and a professional as well. I'm currently pursuing my PhD from the National University of Malaysia, UKM. I'm doing my PhD in influencer marketing. I started my professional career back in 2012 with a company called Coats PLC. Coats PLC is, by the way, the world's leading industrial thread manufacturing company. So I started there as an area sales manager. I worked there for 4 years, but there was something missing in my life, so I switched to academia. In 2017, I joined this university, Salim Habib University, which was formerly known as the Barrett Hodgson University. And I was appointed there as a lecturer, and I stayed there for the next 5 years, and that is why I'm here today. But I'm more than just a passionate teacher. I love traveling. This is Pakistan, by the way. This is Milan, Turkey, and this is from my last trip in US. I am a huge sports fan. I love Manchester United, and yes, you can laugh at my misery. I'm a family man. I love to spend quality time with my family, my father, my brother, cute little nephews, my beautiful wife. Here's a picture from my graduation with my mother and father. So let's get to the business end of the talk, which is understanding Gen Z. And for that, we need to do a little bit of stereotyping. So let's first establish stereotyping is overgeneralization or oversimplification. And let's first establish that putting or labeling an entire individuals from an entire generation into one category, and that too based on studies that were conducted in the Western context, it's a little unfair. But let's say for the simplification purposes, we can stereotype individuals, so we can club them into the common characteristics or the common behaviors that they exhibit. So looking at some of the negative stereotypes that we attach with Generation Z. First, they are addicted to technology. We all know that. They are obsessive and compulsive users of technology. They are using their mobile phones all the time. They browse social media for hours without any particular purpose. And when they come to classrooms, they do not get away from this tendency, and they keep on checking their phone. So they are addicted to technology, and that makes the life of a teacher very difficult. Second, they have a very short attention span, so they are unable to focus on a particular thing for a longer duration of time. They have so much going in their lives with all the technology around them, with all the mobile phones and gadgets. They have so many things that they have to focus on that they are unable to divert attention for a long duration in the classrooms. So how are they going to wait for the class to end if their mobile beeps and they want to check who has liked their photo? So yes, it's important for them to keep on checking mobile phones, and that makes the job of a teacher very difficult, because specifically if you have to teach them for longer durations. The recent study suggests that Gen Z is the most disloyal of all the 4 generational cohorts. And when we talk about disloyalty, this disloyalty is from a customer's perspective. They are disloyal consumers. From an employee's perspective, they are disloyal employees, and they are disloyal in their personal relationships as well. Loyalty is certainly not the strong suit of Gen Z. And how can we miss this? They are lazy. Technology has made them lazy. Because of the use of technology, life is simple now, and what we see as a privilege, they see as a right. So they believe that technology has made their life easier, so they don't have to really work hard. So when, as teachers, we give them assignments, the first thing that they do is they Google search it, and the first link that comes up with their answers, they're just going to copy paste it without even reading it. That's how lazy they can be. And this is my favorite. They have this sense of entitlement. Some of them were born with a silver spoon, and that is why they feel that they have the right to own this world. And what happens is, often they think that if things do not go their way, then it's your fault, not theirs. And they haven't earned the rights. So it is a tendency that they need to get away from. So we've seen some of the negative stereotypes that are attached with Gen Z. We've seen they are lazy, they have this sense of entitlement, they are compulsive users of technology, and they have shorter attention span. So how do we teach them? It's going to be a very difficult job. So one way of teaching them is, as we know that they cannot move away from the tendency of using technology. So we need to integrate technology into the classrooms. It means that as teachers, we need to integrate our lessons from their perspective and integrate the technology. So we should not be putting in policies that discourage them from the use of technology. I make a constant effort to include interactive slides, videos, even memes in my classrooms to get them engaged, because that helps me as a teacher in arousing their senses. Then comes time management. It's an open secret that they cannot focus on lessons for a longer duration of time. Yet, the university administrations, they keep on conducting these long duration classes. As teachers, we can't change the scheduling system, but what we can do is we can schedule our lessons in a better way. So what we can do is we can divide the classroom time into certain manageable segments. So, and we also need to communicate that to the students right at the front, right in the first phase of the class. So when you enter the class, you can tell them, okay, so today we are going to do a role play for 15 minutes, then 5 minutes for discussion, 5 minutes for feedback, 20 minutes for theoretical development, or whatever it is. So in this way, they are constantly engaged in the classroom, and their tendency of not being able to concentrate for longer durations is countered. Okay, then this assumption of them being lazy is false. They often pretend to be disengaged because they don't find a purpose of doing that, because they don't see that there's any meaning to study a particular lesson. So what, as teachers, we need to do is we need to communicate what's the purpose of this lesson. Each lesson has to be integrated with the overall plan, and while you're taking classes, make sure that at the beginning of the class, you mention why is this lesson important and what use it can provide you for your future. Okay, we were discussing that they have this need for instant gratification, and they get it online because whenever they post a video, they post a tweet, they get instant likes, retweets. They don't get that instant gratification in real life. And just like they do not ask for instant gratification in online world, they don't ask people to like their photos. They don't seek validation in real life as well, but they really and desperately need it. So as teachers, you need to constantly motivate and encourage your students. It doesn't take a lot to look into the eye of a young student and tell him or her that I have full confidence in you, you have the abilities, and you have a bright future. If you can do that, it means the world to them. You have to give them a reality check. That's the only way, because they have this sense of entitlement, and only if you can tell them that reality is not like that. Reality is not like a reality show. So I keep repeating this in my class, that life is not fair, so do not expect it to be. Life can be difficult. Circumstances can change. So you as a teacher, you should take this responsibility of giving them the reality check. Okay, so what were my experiences? I found the Gen Z to be very different from the stereotypes that were attached to them. I thought Gen Z is supremely talented. Gen Z, they are innovative, they are creative, they are multitaskers. They were brought up in an environment where multitasking was a norm. They had to multitask, where they are checking on the phone, they are eating food, they are discussing something with their friends. So they can multitask, and that has made them agile and efficient. So with all the idiosyncrasies which we see as their faults, Gen Z is supremely talented and is awesome. They're not lazy at all. In fact, they are the most hardworking generation that there is, because they don't work from 9 to 5. They can work 24/7 if they find a purpose. If you give them a sense of purpose in doing what you want them to do, they will work even harder than any other generation. But you need to help them in finding that purpose, because they are passionate, they want to do something, and you as a teacher can help them with it. And they are high energy. They have Gen Y or Gen X, they get tired quite easily when doing their work. They cannot work for long durations as compared to Gen Z. With them, each and every day is exciting and different. And that's because Gen Z has a lot to offer. They are exposed to different worldviews at a very young age. So unlike the previous generations who had to reach a certain age before getting to know the world, they are exposed to the realities of the world at quite an early age. So that makes them different and unique, and they are very interesting as well. They're also pragmatic. Gen Z is pragmatic because they are more financially savvy. They are ready to face the challenges of the world, specifically the financial challenges that will come along with age. But this is what I like the most about them. They have the audacity to dream big. Most of our generation, they were trained to be mediocres. They were trained to follow the norm, and they were trained to just prepare themselves for a 9-to-5 job. But if I interact with this generation, most of them, they want to start their own businesses. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to do something different. They have this audacity to dream big, and they are relentless in their pursuit as well. Despite being financially savvy, pragmatic, they are value-driven as well. Now, that's what makes them really interesting and different. They have a clear distinction in their mind of what is right or wrong. One of the reasons they are unable to comply to any given system is because they feel that most of the political and societal systems are broken. Hence, they don't really want to fix it. In fact, they want to change it, and they want to build a new system. So they are not interested in fixing the system. They want to create a new system because they believe this system is completely broken. Hence, they can't follow the norms in most of the cases. So this brings me to the last part, which is what's the secret to unlocking their potential? Well, I don't have it, but I can share 4 things that really worked well for me during my time with Generation Z. Number one, you have to establish emotional connections with them. By emotional connections, I mean that you have to maintain a certain degree of personal interaction with all your students. And I know it can be difficult, specifically if you are teaching to a large classroom, but you have to make that one-on-one personal interaction with your students and make sure that they get this sense of security from you, that there is someone out there who is knowledgeable, who's experienced, and who has gone through this phase to help them out if they get into any trouble. And that sense of security means a lot to them. Sorry. The emotional connection cannot be formed without empathy. So you have to understand this generation from their perspective. You have to understand their social, their personal life situations by eliminating what your preconceived notions are, by eliminating how you feel or how you perceive them to be. So you have to eliminate your sense of judgment. And if you do that, you can develop a more intimate bond with them. When I started my teaching career, I modeled myself around this statement. I wanted to be the person who I wished I had when I was young. So I had a lot of complexes. I have a lot of challenges during my teens, and I needed someone. So after 10 years, I have now become that person, and that's my motto of teaching as well. And finally, as a teacher, you got to love this job. You get an opportunity to interact with such a wonderful and talented bunch of individuals, and you have this opportunity to transform their lives. This has to be the best job in the world, and it is indeed the most rewarding job in the world. Thank you so much.